Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Tuesday's Market Situation Report, or SITREP, here at Top Gun Options. And I don't even want to waste any time on the impeachment shit show. Just an absolute national disgrace that Democrats in this country will remember this day. The death of our republic is very close, man. Republics usually last an average of 200 years. You take a look at empires or Brits or Romans. We've had a pretty good run, man. And this is just, it's a disgrace. So there you go. Impeachment, ridiculousness. We'll get into the potential up, down, and left, right of the trade war here in a couple minutes. Just had a good primary live trade brief this morning. We have Solo, Amazon, our newest, hottest service here at Top Gun Options at 1 o'clock. We're going to take a look at keeping the good times going with our winning trades in that portfolio. Really need to hit this, folks, because a lot of you don't know what's going on. So the whole attack at Pensacola Naval Air Station, please get on the Top Gun Options Facebook page, facebook.com/Top Gun Options. Yeah, I know, a little bit of hypocrisy, but until we get a better profile that actually isn't run by liberal pieces of shit, I got to be on here. But you have got to read kind of the reporting I've done on this. We brought in about 40 quote-unquote pilots, 40 Afghanis to go through flight school over here. You know what they did? Half of them jumped the wall and were never to be seen again and are running around somewhere in America. And you need to get on the Top Gun Options Facebook page to read this article. It's not even an article. It's an exact what happened in Pensacola and what goes on with these disgraceful, they're not even human beings. I'm furious at the president's response. Knife attack on London Bridge. Something happens in Paris. The president, literally, as it's still going on, is tweeting about radical Islamic terrorism and, what you guys need to clean up your act over there. It happens on our soil, and the president cares more about the Saudis being very sorry and, whoa, we're going to look into this, than the victims and a terrorist attack on our soil. Trump, you're a disgrace with your reaction to this terrorist attack on our soil. Couldn't stand when Barack Hussein Obama called the attack at Fort Hood domestic. It was a workplace violence incident. You're not far off from this guy. Tighten it up, man. You look like a jackass. Anyway, you have to read this. I've trained Kuwaiti F-18 guys. I was in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. I've met these guys. They're awful. Some of these guys would show up to like briefs in their flight suit and wearing shoes that cost more than I made a month. And they do that on purpose. They looked down on us. They pull up into the squadron parking lot in their Ferraris or Lamborghinis. They drank like fish and ran after prostitutes. Apparently, Allah can't see across the Atlantic. You have to read this write-up, folks. It is from an instructor pilot on Pensacola, a high-ranking officer. He goes into all the details of this foreign Arabic military training we do on our base, the disdain they have for us, and us not being able to have the ability to correct them, and even trying to correct them as pilots. In order to be a fighter pilot in an Arabic country, except Oman. Oman's pretty smart. Oman hires ex-British fighter pilots to be mercenaries. Their Air Force, the Omani Air Force, is mainly a bunch of drunk Brit expats, which are pretty damn good. Other than that, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Bahrain, you have to be royalty. You have to have royal blood to be a fighter pilot, since it's so elite. Let me tell you something. Just because you have royal blood doesn't mean you're not an idiot, and most of these guys were. I didn't fly with one or meet one of these guys that was worth a squat. He sucked. And I posted this on my personal Facebook page, and I have a bunch of former guys that were instructors with these dudes. If you go on my personal Facebook page, friend me, Matthew Buckley on Facebook. You have got to read all my buddies rolling in on this and what their experiences were. Mr. President, stop, get your nose buried out of this guy's ass, and start sticking up for us. I'm furious with your response. You need to tighten your shit up, man. Disgrace. All right. This is, and speaking of disgraces, the president, there is an imminent attack. What's imminent mean, Wiz? I don't know. If I knew, I'd be, smarter people than me might know, but there is going to be an attack in the near future, over the next month or two, I'm going to say, against United States assets and troops. The Brits tanker got seized. They couldn't even do anything. They had a rowboat with a shotgun like 60 miles away. The once vaunted. Remember the saying of the motto of the Royal Navy: "The sun never sets on the Royal Navy." It's said a long time ago. So we did nothing. Iran seized tanker, did nothing. Iran shot down one of our drones, did nothing. We were going to do something, but the president, in all of his stupidity, said, I heard we might kill a couple people, so I'm not going to do that. That's the point, Donald. And then they attacked Saudi oil fields, a quarter of the world's oil. Nobody did anything. The Iranians are getting ready. Since nobody's responding to them, they're going to lash out. You have got to be ready for this, folks. Being long volatility right now makes sense. We talked extensively last week about cream of some young guy from North Korea saying Trump's going to get a Christmas present. If he doesn't buckle to our demands to give us some food or money, I'm going to do something. That something is going to be launching a ballistic missile towards Japan or over Japan, and volatility is going to explode. The market's going to implode because Trump's going to have to go back to calling him Little Rocket Man. And here we go. Everybody remember like a year and a half, 2 years ago, the national or the defense system of Hawaii, typical government employee. I'm going to test the alert system. He had to like push two buttons that said, or he actually was doing a real one. He wasn't in test mode. There's like two safeguards. Like, are you really certain that you're doing this for real? Yes. This means it's not a test. It means you're actually going to alert everybody. Yeah. Yes. Air raid signs go off. The guys have a heart attack. Of course, standard government employee, you can't get fired. He was like retrained. You do something like that in a business, whatever. So potential attack in the Middle East, potential shit show out of North Korea, got to get long volatility. Now, let's get to the kind of the plunge protection team that is keeping our market elevated. Not only, we call it the PPT, the plunge protection team, the New York Fed. Morgan Stanley came out with a report yesterday. Central banks are injecting $100 billion per month to crush volatility and spike markets. That explains this. Look at the VIX, the volatility index, for about a month was nothing. I said, folks, the chickens are about to come home to roost. Bang. This is the longest extended period of low volatility I've seen in 27 years of doing this. We knew that was going to happen. Why? Because the plunge protection team, the New York Fed, and what we call the national team, the Chinese, the PBOC, the People's Bank of China, their sovereign wealth funds, their institutions, they are ordered to buy as well. There's been various times where we've been bullish on FXI because I've gotten intel. Here was a perfect example. A week and a half, almost 2 weeks of the plunge protection team propping up Chinese markets. The FXI is the iShares China ETF. And the other reason that we're kind of hovering up here, we haven't seen a big decline in the FXI in a long time. Look at this one. Right here, we had a trade on that made $20,000, anywhere where you got filled between $18,000 and $20,000. That's the last time we saw a big one of these. And, you know, look at this. Massive implosion, smaller implosion, kind of less. Why? It's right there, man. It is the national team. Plunge protectors versus the national team. So a little bit of a pop in the futures because, hey, you know, we might delay the December tariffs. Wrong. I saw the futures go from being like 100 points down to green to back down. This was essentially fake news. The news that was out is like December 15th isn't a deadline for phase one. Who thought that? I didn't. I know that December 15th is a deadline for $165 billion of new tariffs going into effect. I knew nobody ever said there was a deadline for phase one. So the market going up a little bit today, that there's no deadline for phase one is like, duh. And if you didn't know that, you're an idiot. But what happened later in the morning? Larry Kudlow came out and said, oh, yeah, we're still thinking about tariffs on December 15th, and then the market rolled over. So we're kind of trading in this tight little and you can see exactly where Larry Kudlow was quoted as saying that, right here. Oh, we're still thinking about those tariffs. Boom. But the president hasn't decided. Boom, boom. Look at that. Look at the range. Look at those two little spikes. 0.25% move in the S&P 500 in about 10 minutes as Larry Kudlow kind of fumbled around. A little bit of a joke here, man, but I'm starting to get to the point where, you know, the market and investors are maybe I'm not going to say happy, but they're okay with the trade war. We're bringing in billions of dollars. I know our farmers are getting hammered, and that sucks. That's not good. The Chinese have done, what have they done? They told Donald to pack sand, and they went down to Brazil. They're going with the Trump of the tropics, Bolsonaro, and doing that stuff. Um, so, you know, I'm kind of neutral here, man. We had this implosion last week at the Clown Car NATO Summit. We got a nice back bounce, but look, we got bounced back to where we are. I am long volatility and long S&P 500 puts in case between now and Friday or now and Saturday, the president says, yep, I'm going to hit him with more tariffs. We will roll over and probably go back down to 3,100. But in case I'm wrong, I have some tactical FXI. I'm bullish on FXI out to Friday, right? The 41.40 bull put spread. Do not do that trade if you have a big question mark over your forehead going, I don't know what Trump's going to do with these tariffs. Me, I'm leaning toward the guy watches the stock market on a daily basis, folks. I mean, I have to have his Twitter feed up to make sure he's not writing something about the market. Obviously, today he's going apeshit over the impeachment stuff, but I think the president wants a green Christmas. I think he wants an up market. I think he signed the Hong Kong support bill. The Chinese kind of, for all their bluster, didn't do anything. They threatened there would be no trade deal ever if he signed that thing, but he signed it Wednesday night before Thanksgiving, and even the Chinese mouthpiece said, well, he signed it the night before Thanksgiving because, he didn't want to hurt us. So even the Chinese recognize that he's half pregnant supporting Hong Kong protesters, which sucks. And he needs to be a little bit more full-throated in his defense. But I think the president is going to punt on the tariffs. And if he is going to punt on the tariffs, he's going to do it during market hours during the week. He ain't going to wait till Saturday to do it. If he's going to raise tariffs or let them go into effect, he'll do that Saturday after the market closes. So he gets a little bit of a half-day Saturday and then Sunday for the market to react. Reminder, Saturday, Navy beats the hell out of Army in Philadelphia. Okay, I got to get going. We got Solo Amazon. Had a great week last week in the Solo Amazon service. $4,260 on 2 trades on limited risk. Hit max profit. We're having a great time in that newest, hottest portfolio. So I'll see many of you at 1 o'clock. If you're not a member yet, get on board. Have a great rest of your day. Happy hunting. Make sure you hedge and God bless. I'll see you tomorrow.